Dear everybody, hi, it's me, Austin, and okay, that's enough of that. This isn't a true science episode, this is an update. Since most of you are here and not patrons, and most of you definitely don't follow me or Shoddycast on Twitter, even though you totally should, because, I don't know, just do it! Anyway, this is a sort of State of the Union address from me, from Shoddycast. Let me explain. This is a video I'm making because, honestly, I don't want to be fielding questions about this for my entire life, even though when I first started making videos here, all the way until my very last video, I was always still getting, where's Josh? Where's Kyle? I miss when this channel was good, but it only had 20,000 followers, and they were all doing a podcast for Elder Scrolls Online, a game they ended up not even liking all that much. Well, now it's time to let you know that I am in charge of Shoddycast. I own it. It's mine. Okay, so, well, what does that really mean? Well, to get to the heart of the story, we'll have to go back to the beginning. Originally, I was a Shoddycast fan, that's it. I had been a fan for ages, and I still am? I know that sounds weird, but I make videos on game theorists, and I'm still a fan of game theory. I think that's alright. I feel like you should passionately love what you do if you're gonna do a good job, so it can't be that weird. I still, honestly, to this day, remember hands down what my first Shoddycast video was. It was the Elder Scrolls lore video on Dark Elves. Ages ago, I was watching the behind-the-scenes video that Shoddycast did, and I watched it all the way to the end because I loved the stuff that they made. And at the end, Josh mentioned that they were looking to expand their team to work on future projects, and I sent him an email immediately after I finished, and silence. For 3 months. And then boom, out of nowhere, Josh replied to me. They were looking to start a Dragon Age lore series, and they were looking for editors. Part of the recruitment process was an audition where we had to edit a small section of the upcoming Dragon Age lore series. I had never worked in After Effects before, but since machinima in BioWare engines is pretty much impossible unless you're a computer genius, I thought still animations were the best way to go. I sent Josh like 5 to 8 different cuts from that small section because I was unhappy with how all of them turned out. But instead of costing me the job because I was annoying, my enthusiasm is what sold him on hiring me. And because I hate myself, I'm gonna play the entire first cut here in the background while I'm talking. Anyway, I grew a lot working on Shoddycast videos, and to this day made some of what I consider to be the best animations I've ever done. Eventually, after watching the channel struggle to grow and expand, I approached Josh with an idea. What if I made videos? Entirely myself. I had been watching the channel, listening to the audience, and more specifically, other YouTubers, and seeing what they did well. Enter Rethinking, a show that I thought I'd never do again, but I've recently relaunched on here, shows what I know. I spent months experimenting with formats, styles, theses, and all sorts of stuff. I had an agreement that I'd make 2 videos a week, which just seems out of this world to me now. It's just totally ridiculous, but I did it somehow. And in that desperation to meet my quotas, I made a video ranting about the laser rifles in Fallout 4 and the broken physics and how they made no goddamn sense. It was fun to make and people loved it, and thus was born the science! Fast forward months. My wife was pregnant. I was plugging away at weekly videos at the time. I had stopped doing 2 a week because my science show, the best ones, required my entire focus to get done. And then, out of nowhere, MatPat made a video on game theory about Minecraft and flat earth conspiracy theories, and heck, what do you know? So did I. On the same day. My video dropped just a few hours before his, with no planning whatsoever. I jokingly teased Matt on Twitter about this, and he approached me. Apparently, he was a fan of my work, which, Lord, I don't even know how to register that even now, honestly. Anyway, he made me an offer to move the science to game theory, and I took it. It may seem like, I don't know, a sellout or greedy moment to some, but try and put yourself in my shoes for a second. I had a baby on the way, which sure does make you think, oh, it's just a money thing. And I guess to a degree it was, but it was definitely more than that. I knew that I would have way less time. My wife and I had agreed that I'd be the primary daytime caretaker since my schedules were way more flexible than hers, but this also meant that making videos would be really difficult, and it was, and it is. On the other hand, Matt was offering me a platform that was literally 10 times bigger than the one I was on, which meant that while I was probably going to be less capable of making videos at the rate I was before my child was born, they'd be hitting way more eyeballs. And that is why I do this at the end of the day. I love an audience. I love when I work hard on something and a lot of people see it and like it. I live for that. That's worth way more than any amount of money to me. If our Patreon evaporated into nothingness overnight, I'd keep making videos. It's a need. I'm compelled to do it. An opportunity to be on a huge platform and learn about how YouTube works from literally the smartest people out there, that's invaluable. I had to say yes. I left and, well, if you were a fan of the channel, you know what happened. Some lackluster side projects came out and did not do well. There was a promise of a Fallout movie made, and then nothing. A few content spurts here and there, but basically nothing. That hurt for me to see, honestly. While I left to work on my main series, I always considered myself not just a fan of Shoddycast, but a member. I never felt like I left in my heart. My heart was always here. I built my core audience here. I doubled the channel size with my work here. Y'all, the subscribers, are a mix of my fans and my peers. You're a fan of Shoddycast just like I'm a fan of Shoddycast, and it hurt me to see the channel struggle, but I wasn't consulted on it, and it wasn't my business, so the channel stagnated, and I kept working on what I worked on. Then, out of nowhere, Bethesda was like, oh, hey, here's a new Fallout game. And I think something clicked in the heads of Josh and Kyle. They didn't have the time or energy anymore to maintain Shoddycast. Here's a brand new Fallout game coming out, Shoddycast's bread and butter, and they simply didn't have it in them to capitalize on it. So Josh came to me and was like, hey, what do you think? Do you want the channel? He was offering me the opportunity to manage the channel how I saw fit, to own the channel that has my heart invested in it, to revive it, to heal it, to take all the knowledge I've gained from networking with the biggest YouTubers on the platform and put it to use. You bet your ass I said yes. The legal elements are pretty boring, but I own Shoddycast. I am Shoddycast now. All the responsibilities for its growth and success lie on my shoulders, and I intend to do good by it. Now, what does that mean for content that you're here for? Well, first and foremost, let me get this out of the way. The movie isn't happening. If it had been up to me at the time, it would have never been a promise that was made. There's a big difference between making 90 minutes worth of videos, 10 to 15 minutes at a time, and making a full feature-length film. It wasn't my promise, so it's not my responsibility to keep limping it forward when it was pretty much impossible to begin with. But it is my responsibility to be honest with you. It's not happening. The end. Patrons have known this for a while, but now you do too officially. The Storyteller is on hiatus. There's a lot of reasons for why this is that are kinda boring, and there's basically two major reasons: YouTube's algorithm and my own personal skills. Lore content isn't really what I'm great at. I was originally allowed to make my videos on the channel because I have different strengths, and that's going to be my focus first. However, I do love Shoddycast style lore content. I am a fan of it. I always have been. That style where it's like there's someone from the world telling you the stories of their world, that is unique, and no one else has ever captured it better than this channel. So there is a Patreon goal to make it happen. Should we reach this goal, I promise you, I will bring back Fallout and Elder Scrolls lore on a separate Shoddycast channel. Separate because, honestly, that'll make it succeed more. And yes, I'll be bringing back the Storyteller with it, but we'll be focusing more on deep arcane lore, not so much the narrative arcs. So that's basically it as far as what I have planned here. Just me making what I do best, focusing on making the best stuff possible. If you believe in our vision, in my vision, in the stuff that I make and the stuff that we could make, hop on over to our Patreon channel. And if this news depresses you, I don't mind if you unsubscribe. Do it. It's fine. It's okay. You'll be back. Sincerely, Austin.